Hey guys, how's it going? Danil here from the King Realty Group. Hope you're doing well. So we've had a few changes in our marketplace, and I think it's information you definitely should know. Today we're going to talk about interest rates and how it changed on October 26th. Bank of Canada made a decision and our interest rate went up. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about Doug Ford and the fact that he has now put in some legislation that's going to override municipal rules and allow for more density in certain communities. So you can actually do that second unit, that third unit in here in Ontario and many neighborhoods now. And the last thing is that, many things have changed in our marketplace, so I'm going to give you some tips as a buyer or seller here in the marketplace. So stay tuned and we'll talk about that in this video. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. We're going to spend some time to talk about some new developments here in our GTA marketplace. We're talking real estate here and how it impacts your buying and selling decisions. First and foremost, we're talking about the Bank of Canada decision on October 26th and the fact that they increased for the sixth time in a row interest rates, the overnight lending rate by 0.5%. 50 basis points, so it's now at 3.75, which is obviously going to impact our mortgages, variable mortgages, fixed mortgages, any new mortgages that you're getting into, and many other things as well, lines of credit, overnight lending rate as well, and the interest rate here. So we're going to take a look at some predictions of what's going to happen on December 7th, which is the next decision, and also how it impacts our real estate market. So one thing that I want to let you know is that 0.5 was actually not what was anticipated by many experts. Many people were actually thinking that this interest rate decision was going to go up by 75 basis points or 0.75. So the fact that we're about a quarter point less than what many people predicted kind of is a bit of an indicator. Hey, we're going to have to see kind of what happens over the next few months. However, what many people think is the fact that, Canada, because obviously they're looking at a lot of different things. The Bank of Canada is looking at a lot of different things to make these type of decisions. They may be seeing that the fact that they've increased rates 5 times in a row pretty significantly has maybe slowed down the economy a little bit more than they thought. I mean, obviously they're kind of teeter-tottering here. They don't want to slow things down too much because they want to avoid a recession. They don't want to have increases be too little, that the demand for goods and services and prices continue to rise. So they're kind of in this delicate balance, and they need to kind of find a good middle ground, let's say, for things to actually work out the best for our economy. At the end of the day, they're trying stuff out, and we're only going to know if that works or not over the next few months. So it's going to be very interesting. One thing that could be a reason why they only went up by 0.5% is the fact that they predict slow to no growth or maybe negative growth over the next few quarters. And if we do have negative growth for 2 to 3 quarters or more, then we're technically in a recession. And this is something that they're very, very careful not to necessarily say because it could panic people. A lot of people think that we're already in a recession. If you're getting bombarded by high prices in food, high prices at the grocery store, high prices at the gas tank, and also your mortgage has increased because you're in a variable mortgage. When you get hit from all those different angles, like you could feel like you're suffocating. This may be impacting a lot people more than others, and so a lot of people might already feel that change, that impact of inflation, and the fact that interest rates have gone up quite a bit. So yeah, look, this is the highest inflation rate in 4 decades, in the last 40 years. So obviously there's a significant increase in inflation, and we're trying to get it back down to 2% from the current standpoint of 6.9%. This is the last number that was given to us, I think, back in September. So obviously there's a lot of work to be done, and we're going to have high interest rates for quite a bit of time, likely for the rest of the 2023 year, because they are predicting that towards the end of 2023, the fourth quarter of 2023, we actually might be at that 2 to 3% inflation, which is what their target is. They're trying to get down to 2%. So let's see what happens over this next few months. All right, guys, so if you're liking this content, you want to make sure you're subscribing and hitting the like button. We do have some buttons below to here to set up a call with us if you want more information. And make sure that you're following us here on YouTube. You got to search up Danilo Martinez, King Realty Group, and you'll see the other content that we have for you guys. Now, at the end of the day, we still could see further increases in the interest rate over the next couple decisions. However, many predict that it's still going to be kind of on the lower side, maybe a 0.25, maybe 0.5 as well. However, if the Bank of Canada sees that things are not going the way that we want, there's no stopping them from increasing another point altogether. So we're going to have to see how that plays out on December 7th. Now, how does that impact as real estate people? Maybe you're getting into a new mortgage, you're buying a property. So obviously, if you're buying after October 26th, you didn't do any pre-approval with a lender prior to the 26th in order to lock in a rate, you're going to be impacted by higher rates. Now, right now we have maybe close to 6% fixed rates, low to mid 5% variable rates, and that's kind of the ballpark that you're in right now. If you're buying property or if you bought property with lines of credit, double whammy here. If you went into a variable and you're also using a line of credit to actually make that purchase, then both payments have gone up, and in some cases quite a bit. So it's something to kind of think about, guys, and I'm just letting you know that that's the deal right now. So home values and activity, how is that impacting us as well? It is, right? I mean, since the Bank of Canada started increasing interest rates in the last 5 decisions, we've seen a drop in price. We've also seen a significant drop in activity. Although, we're not at the lowest levels that we've been in terms of sales, we are definitely experiencing a lot less activity, less sales than normal. And also the pricing has impacted quite a bit as well. It went down as far as 25 or a little bit maybe more than that % in many different housing types. However, in the last 2 months, we've had kind of like a stable month over month average price. So that's going to be interesting to see how the October price is going to play out in the next maybe week or two. We're probably going to put out another video here reviewing the October 2022 numbers, and we're going to see how it compares to August and September. So if you're considering getting into the market here and getting into a new transaction from the buyer perspective, you want to be purchasing long term. The nice thing right now is that you're buying at a much better price point, but you do know that the interest rate is temporarily high, and as soon as inflation is kind of under control, we're hoping to see, get back to maybe a 3% to 4% interest rate compared to the 5-6% that we're seeing right now. Okay, guys, the other thing we wanted to talk about here is Doug Ford and the fact that he has changed some legislation in order to, and so this story broke on the Toronto Star, and he's the article talked about the fact that Doug Ford and his government is actually making legislation changes that are going to the main one for me is that they're going to override municipal rules right now in order to kind of cut the red tape and allow for more density inside our neighborhoods. Okay, so this means that people right now are having a tough time trying to build secondary units, maybe basement apartments, or third units, laneway homes, garden suites. So if you have a lot that's big enough and that meets the requirements, you're able to build a little house in the back where you can actually make into a unit. That's actually a really good plan, right? A good play, because many times you're paying maybe $200,000 to $300,000, maybe a little bit more for this little house in your backyard, and you're able to collect about the same sort of rent that you would collect if you were renting a condo, and obviously you're paying half the price to build that versus going out and getting a condo. Granted, you're paying cash money here. This is capital, and you're not going to get a mortgage for this additional unit, but it is something that is available for a lot of people if they have the capital to do so. So it's actually a very welcome change. This is going to allow for more housing options for tenants. Despite what you see in the market right now, we do have a supply shortage, and we do have 1.4 million immigrants coming into Canada over the next few years. A good chunk of those people are actually going to come into the GTA, and guess what? They got to live somewhere, and so this provides a lot of options. Now, this is going to get around people who are NIMBYs, which means not in my backyard. There's, whenever there's a proposal to do density inside any neighborhood on any given street, the government allows, or the municipality allows, people who live in the neighborhood to kind of vote against this change. And in some cases they win. They have a group of enough people in a certain community who want to vote against, adding a second floor or a third floor to a particular house in order to make it into a triplex or a duplex, for example. And a lot of time these guys win, and that's one of the issues we have here in Ontario. I think about a city like Seattle, and you look up urban density in Seattle. You might see a regular street where there's just bungalows or 2-story homes, and right in the middle of the street or somewhere along the street, there's like a massive 4 or 5 story building all of a sudden that just got built. And they allow for that to happen because, the investor or the person who wants to make that developmental change applied and was allowed to build this triplex or fourplex. And now it's providing housing for more people inside this community. And as you see one example, you see now other people doing the same sort of thing. So, a lot of people are kind of against that here in the GTA or Ontario because they want to preserve, the look and feel of a community. However, I think we're limiting ourselves, and we got to understand that our population is growing worldwide, but also here in the GTA and in Ontario. So we have to kind of move along with the times and be future looking. And allow for these sort of things. I'm on board. However, I'm curious to know what you guys think about this type of changes. Is it an open door now for investors to come in, buy up a bunch of houses and do these type of developments? Is that a bad thing? And as an investor, or I want to know like the people who are for it as well, and what you would do if you were allowed to kind of add a garden suite to your backyard. This is a really welcome thing. I know over the last couple of years I've helped a lot of new buyers or people who are looking to get into the market. Because of the prices that we have nowadays here in the GTA, getting that basement apartment income almost really saves the deal, right? Like it allows for you to actually get into a property and collect some income and actually cut your bill in half, and now you can afford to live in this house, And so I've seen a lot of people do that, and so it might be an option to kind of reduce your bills, especially in this high inflation environment that we're in. And so you can, have additional savings, whereas in the past you wouldn't be able to get it. It actually might even eliminate your bill completely if you're able to have 3 units in one piece of land and you're living there too. It could literally you might even be profitable once you collect all your income. Rental rates are kind of high right now. So yeah, it's just to add, basically part of this Ontario housing plan is to remove development fees. This is going to reduce the amount of cost that it's going to cost a developer to actually make these 2 units, these triplexes, these additional units, because the government is actually committed to building 285,000 new units here in the GTA, here in the Toronto area by 2032. So that would be in the next 10 years, guys. Let me know what you think if we're able to actually hit that goal. But that's outstanding, that's a lot of units, and it might not even meet the demand that we're looking for. But hey, that's actually what we're doing here. And just so development fees are fees that the municipality collects. So if you're building here in Toronto, you'd be paying development fees. And so a lot of people are wondering, well, what happens, with that lost income? Well, the government does have a budget for this, and they're going to actually cover the municipality's shortfalls in case there are any from missed development fees. So they're trying to cover their bases here and allow for people to develop and add more units into our neighborhoods, and hopefully people a lot more open to the fact that we're going to be adding more density to our communities, which, like I said before, I am all for. Okay guys, so those are the kind of 2 things that I wanted to talk about, the interest rate and the fact that it's gone up. We're thinking that in December 7th, we might still have an interest rate increase. It just might not be as high or possibly about the same as what we had in October 26th. All these interest rate increases do impact mortgages, new mortgages, lines of credit, new variable mortgages. Some people are actually, going into a 2 or 3 year fixed rate, thinking that maybe towards the end of that 2 or 3 year period, they don't want to have fluctuating rate prices. Maybe at the end of that 2 or 3 year period, we may actually have lower rates at that point in time. It's not set in stone, but some people are doing that as well. And the last thing I wanted to chat about is the fact that values have changed quite a bit. And we've here at our office, we've had a lot of people communicate with us, ask us for an update on their value, and that's something that we provide, right? We do that free of cost. We're able to go in and take a look at apples to apples comparisons. We take a look at your micro market and a bit of the macro market to kind of understand where the months of supply is in your neighborhood. If you're in a semi, we're going to compare you to semis, what semis have sold in the last 2-3 months, and we'll also go back about a year, because if you didn't know, our price point today is actually very similar to the price point of September 2021. And so we're going to go back a year, and we're going to see prices around that time because they are relevant to the current value at the moment. Okay, so we'll all do those things. So guys, there's links either above or below here to book an appointment. Just do a quick 30-minute call with me, and or you can respond to this email or set a comment down below wherever you're seeing this, and let us know if you need some help with values, because we'd be happy to do that. And I know over the next few months, a lot of people are looking for that type of information. All right, guys, Danilo from the King Realty Group. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope this information was valuable to you. And yeah, let me know if you like this sort of stuff, and we'll keep in touch, okay? Take care. Bye for now.